My name is Autumn T. Thomas, and my piece is called Forest for the Trees, and it is for the One Sheet exhibition at the Arvada Center. The idea came behind really kind of wanting to cut this large sheet of wood into strips and sort of kind of follow this repetitive motion. And so the bulk of my work, there is a lot of repetition in it, and sort of what I get is like a meditative state where I make a bunch of cuts over and over again. And so I wanted to kind of push that and explore what it means to sort of take one process and have to do it over and over again. And that sort of process also applies to life. And it was a moment where when I started this piece, I was also at the beginning of sort of a new state in my own studio life. And so it was a moment to be able to sort of dig into the process of sort of kind of reaching a goal that I have is a long-term goal, but being able to take certain tiny steps in order to get to that goal, and sort of forgetting about all the extra steps that you have to take and just focusing on the details. And so the piece is sort of like me living in my state of trying to be better and sort of trying to manifest bigger dreams and bigger goals. And yeah, so this is like a physical manifestation of that process. First, I started out really just by dreaming, and sort of, I'll go through this process of envision all the possibilities. It's really hard to articulate, but it's necessary for me to sort of just like let anything happen in my head. And so then I start to pare down and think, okay, well, what's actually doable? Then I went into the studio and I basically cut this 4x8 sheet into strips of about 4 inches wide. So then I started out with ended up with I think 27 strips. And so I got them all about the same size, trimmed them up a little bit. And then I really just started kerf cutting them. So I went, strip by strip, adding what's called kerf cuts. And that allows the wood to sort of bend and become flexible. So once I had all those cut, 27 of them, then I poured resin in them, in each one. And that resin sort of lets the wood hold its shape. And then went to sanding. And so it's a lot of the kerf cutting and the resin filling and the sanding, that's all the repetition, and that's all the sort of, I think of it as grunt work sometimes, but it's 100% necessary. And you can tell, or I can tell, if I skip a step or if I, try to go a little faster than necessary, then the results, the result is going to be that I cheated on it. Like I feel like I didn't give it the fullest attention. Yeah, and so once I got to the point where they're all sanded, then I started to put the base together, and that's where it feels like the piece is actually sort of coming together. And I feel, that's where the pride starts to build, because you can see it coming together and you can see it sort of coming as a whole. So what inspires me to use wood is there's a certain tactile nature of wood that I honestly don't know. I'm sort of called by the ancestors to work with it. I'm trained in like printmaking and book arts, and so the exploration of wood sort of crept up on me. And I started working with wood about 5 years ago, and sort of just like fell in love with it. Yeah, and so I think there's a lot of being able to just like work with my hands and sort of mold the wood into different shapes. It feels like a natural calling.